Hello friends, welcome to AJIS Academy Indore. I am Akhilesh Jha. Please share and subscribe my channel for more videos pertaining to different topics for UPSC and other civil services examinations. Friends, today's topic is whether Indian economy is a dead economy, as the American president said other day. So my lesson plan includes why it is in the news, what is the definition of dead economy, what are the major concerns of our economy, way forward, and finally conclusion. Friends, as you know that being annoyed with the stand of the Indian government that India would not open its farm and dairy sectors to the US, because as you know that 86% of our farmers are marginal farmers living and cultivating a subsistence agriculture. They have less than 2 hectares of land. So India did not budge under the pressure of the US president, and that's why, being annoyed with the Indian government, the American president said that both India and Russia have dead economies. Friends, as you know that the US has only 2% farmers, while in India we know that 42.3% people are doing cultivation work, and the share of agriculture in the GDP is around 17.6%. In contrast, the share of GDP of the agriculture sector in the American economy is around 2%, and only 2% of its population are engaged in agricultural activities. They are big farmers holding huge chunks of lands. They are engaged in commercial agriculture. They are getting huge amount of subsidies, and so Indian farmers cannot compete with the American farmers, and that's why government of India decided not to open the agricultural and dairy sectors to the US market. Friends, now the question arises as to what is the definition of dead economy. A dead economy is an economy where there is a complete absence of the growth. There is a negative growth. For example, in Japan, in 1995, its size of economy was 5.5 trillion American dollar. Now it shrank in 2025, amounting to $4.17 trillion, and thus it slipped to 5th rank from 3rd rank. India is going to surpass Japan as the 4th economy of the world by the end of this year. If we compare Indian economy from 1995 to 2025, we find that the size of the Indian economy in 1995 was $360 billion. In 2025, it reached to 4.187 trillion American dollar. Thus, there is an increase of 11.6 times in its economy. Similarly, we find that the Chinese economy was 738 billion in 1995. It rose to more than $19 trillion in 2025, and thus it witnessed 26 times increase in its GDP. As you know that China has become the manufacturing hub of the world. Similarly, in 1995, the GDP of Russia was 336 billion. It rose to more than 2,000 billion dollar, an increase of more than 6 times within a span of 30 years. In contrast, the GDP of Japan was more than $5.5 trillion in 1995 and it shrank to $4.186 trillion by 2025. Thus we see that since 1995 to 2025, the US economy rose by 4 times, the UK economy rose by 2.9 times, German economy by 1.8 times, Argentina 2.4 times, Pakistan 3.8 times. Thus, when we compare Indian economy and its growth trajectory, we find that India is only second to China in terms of the growth rate, surpassing even the US, UK, Australia, Canada, Argentina, Pakistan and various other countries. So there is no iota of doubt that India is an emerging economy, the fastest growing economy in the world after China. Friends, in recent years, when we compare Indian economy with other economies of the world, what do we find? We find that India witnessed 6.5% growth rate in 2024-25 and the projected growth rate according to IMF estimate is 6.4%, while the growth rate of China in 2024-25 was 5%, and now its projected growth rate for 2025-26 is going to be 4%. Similarly, when we compare the growth rate of India with other countries like Australia, Japan, Canada, Russia, Brazil, we find that their growth rate is not more than 3%. Thus we find that India is going to become a big economy by 2030, whereby its GDP is going to reach $7 trillion on the basis of IMF estimates. And in terms of PPP, purchasing power parity, its economy is to achieve $22.2 trillion. Friends, when we see the fiscal health of India, we find that the fiscal deficit was reduced to 4.8% in 2024-25 and in 2025 and 26 the fiscal deficit would be reduced to 4.4%. So there is a fiscal stability in India. Moreover, the retail inflation has come down to 2%, which is the lowest since 2019. Indian exports are increasing every year and even touching $850 billion in 2024-25. The foreign exchange reserves have reached around $700 billion, thereby providing a strong buffer against external shocks. Foreign direct investment inflows continue to be strong with cumulative inflows of around $1 trillion. Now, in spite of the fastest growth in our economy, what are the major concerns of India? These are: India could not replicate its growth rate of 8 to 9% before 2011-12, and since 2014 India's growth rate hovers around 6%. Friends, you know that the Chinese economy grew by 10% for the last 30 years from 1980 to 2010, pushing it as the second largest economy of the world after the US. Such thing did not happen in India. the pace of growth rate is not on the expected lines. In 2008-9, the growth rate in India was around 8 to 9%. India's share of export in international market is around 1.8% in mercantile goods and 4.5% in services goods. Overall, India's share in the world trade is 2%, while for China it is around 14.6%. Indian manufacturing industries are not growing on the expected lines. The government fixed the target of 25% its share in the GDP, but as of now, its share in the GDP is not more than 13 to 14%, and it is a matter of great concern to all of us because the slow growth in manufacturing sector could not absorb the additional workforce implied in agriculture in the form of disguised or underemployment. Despite the fast GDP growth in India, the growth rate has been skewed in favor of already developed states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu. So much so that the per capita income of Bihar is 10 times less than that of Goa. On the eve of independence, the per capita income of Bombay Presidency, which comprised Gujarat and Maharashtra, was double than that of Bihar. Now, after the lapse of 78 years, the per capita income of Bihar is 5 times less than that of Maharashtra. This caused regional disparities. Moreover, the inequality is increasing day by day, so much so that top 1% people have 22% of national income and 40% of the national wealth, while bottom 20% have no durable assets. Now, what are ways forward? What are the solutions? Number one, India should diversify its exports so that it should have lesser dependence upon the US and China. It should make free agreement treaty with countries of Africa, Latin America and Europe. India has made free trade agreement with UAE and recently Britain and Australia. This is a welcome gesture. More emphasis should be given on the production of renewable source of energy so that our dependence upon fossil fuels is reduced. MSME sectors should be boosted further because they have the capacity of more employment opportunities. The recent declaration of reduction of GST to 2 slabs of 5% and 18% would further spur the consumption demands in urban as well as in rural areas. So friends, now I conclude that Indian economy is not a dead economy. It is a thriving economy. It is the fastest growing economy in the world. In order to reap maximum demographic dividends and to exploit the immense potentiality of Indian economy, it is necessary that we must focus upon inclusive growth, employment intensive and sustainable growth. The growth should percolate down to the grassroots levels. The growth must be inclusive, encompassive all sections of the society so that there should not be a threat to our social and economic stability.